Hello and welcome to Miniatures Rundown, the Necromundown. I'm Joshua again.
I'm Mitchell again.
And we're talking brutes. Specifically today, we're going to talk about the brutes that everybody except for nomads can access.
There's only one that nomads can't get? Is that true? Or can nomads not have anything?
No, nomads can only get their specific nomad brute.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean...
Kinda sucks. It says that in their profile, which overrides. Anyway, we'll talk about that more when we talk about the house brutes.
Yeah.
What we're talking about today is the brutes that anybody can have. This is all gangs, except nomads, can have these brutes. Usually it's between 0 to 2 of these. We already talked about all the mechanics of brutes in our brutes hangers on mechanic videos, somewhere up there. Above Mitchell's head. We'll start with the most ubiquitous, the most famous, the one, the only, Ambot.
Luther Pattern Excavation Automata.
Picture of the Ambot here.
Directly over my face.
Yeah, you are now the Ambot. So the Ambot is famous in Necromunda for a reason.
Yes.
It's scary.
It's scary.
For 215 credits, or down to 185 if you're playing Orlok or Cawdor.
So 30 credits less is pretty good.
Pretty big discount.
Yeah.
For 215 credits for most folks, though, you get a 3-up weapon skill, 5-up ballistic skill, strength 5, toughness 5, 3 wound monstrosity.
He's so good.
2 attacks at base, which isn't a lot, but that's pretty, you know.
It's not terrible considering it comes with 2 weapons.
And terrible mental stats except for a 6-up cool, and it only has a 4-inch movement.
That's one of its problems.
But it comes stock with infiltrate.
That's one of its strengths.
Yes. So the Ambot is slow. It is very slow. 4-inch movement, you don't realize how much worse 4-inch movement is than 5-inch movement until you play with it.
Yeah, agreed.
The Ambot is basically a melee powerhouse. By default, it comes with Tunneling Claws. Tunneling Claws and the Grab Claw that it can replace it with for a hefty 90 credits.
90 credits.
Are both interesting in that they are both dual-purpose weapons. They have both melee and ranged. At melee, it's, normal range. Strength, so strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage.
Yep, which is nothing to write home about, but not bad.
I think strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage is something to write home about.
But it doesn't do anything else.
Oh, boo-hoo, it's strength 5, 2 damage.
AP 1.
You don't need it to do anything else.
Anyway, its ranged weapon's actually pretty sweet.
Yes.
It is only 4 short range, 8 long range, so really, really close range. Strength 6, AP 2, 2 damage, 5-up ammo. Melta, sidearm.
And scarce. It's basically a slightly weaker Melta gun.
But it has sidearm, so you can use it in melee.
And, more importantly, use your weapons skill in melee.
The actual important part.
Not your ballistic skill.
Of 5-up.
Correct.
So, and it should be noted, it comes with 2.
Yes.
So you can either, so you have 2 base attacks, plus 1 for dual wielding.
An Ambot is always dual wielding.
Always
so really
dual
it has 3 attacks.
So in melee, you can use 3 for your melee and then 1 for your pistol if you want, or you can use all 4 for your melee.
Right. And you probably want to use 1 for your pistol.
Because it's really good.
And it hits the same on melee.
Yeah.
And has better AP and better
Melta.
strength. And Melta, which means if you're at half range, which in melee,
you are.
If it gets through, it just
Yeah,
evaporates.
Instead of rolling injury dice, they get knocked out.
Correct.
Period.
Now, you can, if you want to, swap that out for the Grab Fist. For a whopping 90 credits. The melee weapon is the same stats-wise, so strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage. It comes with Pulverize, which means...
if you roll an injury dice, you roll a dice, and on a 4-up, one of the flesh wounds turns into a serious injury.
Correct.
It's a very, very small case.
Which is not bad, though, with
It's not bad.
It's basically a way to get more serious injury.
Yeah. And with a serious injury giving also flesh wounds and multiples, it's pretty good.
Right. The ranged component is where it's a little more interesting.
Yeah.
Because you have a 6-inch, 12-inch range, plus 1 accuracy at short range, which means you're hitting on a 4 instead of a 5. It's a Gravitron Pulse.
Yes.
Which means the strength scales with your opponent's strength. Or against your
Basically,
opponent's strength.
yeah.
AP 1, 2 damage, blast 3 inches, and concussion.
See, the real thing is, yes, at short range, 6 inches, you have +1 to hit.
Yes.
But it's also blast, so you could just miss
And
be okay with that.
and be okay because it'll scatter.
Yeah.
And probably still hit something.
Right.
But for 90 credits...
90 credits is a lot of points.
For 90 credits, especially as we talked about, this is one of the brutes where you have to front load the cost. You can't choose to upgrade it later.
That's the real disappointment with this. If I could pay $215 or $185 and then later give it 90 credits to upgrade it, that would be much, much better. But having to do it all at once, over 300 credits.
Yes, and considering how good a melt-a-gun sidearm that uses your weapon skill is, I don't think the 90 credits are worth it.
Probably not.
The one thing in favor of that 90 credit gun, though, is that with 4-inch movement, getting to melee can be a struggle, right?
Yeah.
And having a 12-inch blast weapon gives you a little bit more ability to reach out and touch somebody who might otherwise have the ability to just never be in your combat zone.
Yep. That's the real downside of the really short-range Melta is they could just shoot you, pin you, and then be out of it.
Because your only skill basically is infiltrate. You don't have a way to mitigate pinning.
Nope.
And you are weak to pinning as an Ambot.
Exactly.
That's one. It's kind of like a corpse grinder with way more toughness.
Yes.
They also have a rule called cranial governors. Basically, you can turn off its cranial governor, which is an action. You can swip it off at the... Not an action, sorry. It's a thing you can do at the beginning of the round. It gets Berserker as a skill, which is +1 attack on the charge. And its attacks becomes D3 +1 instead of just 2. So that's D3 +1
plus
+1
Berserker.
plus Berserker
Plus charging.
plus charging. So you can get like 6 attacks.
Yeah.
However, it basically has Reckless on its attacks, and it has to... It doesn't have Reckless, though. It just has to divide all of its attacks evenly with everybody it's in base-to-base contact with.
Yeah.
Enemy or friendly.
So if it's like wildly swinging,
Right.
but if you're only in combat with one guy, it doesn't actually change anything.
Right. It makes you more dangerous.
Yeah.
If you can control it, there's really no reason not to do it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't actually say that you have to charge the nearest thing or anything like that. It doesn't actually make you a berserker or anything. It just gives you way more attacks at the cost of having to spread them out.
It's basically a do every time.
Yeah, pretty much. There's one other upside to the automata, which is if you also happen to have the Mind Workings territory, which is only
in Dominion.
In the Dominion campaign, you can get an additional D6 on the income to represent you using the Ambot to mine stuff.
In between games.
Which is a wonderful flavor little thing.
It is.
And I love it. It's also, unlike most other hangers-ons, brutes, and gangers, if you capture an Ambot after a battle, you can just choose to keep it.
Yep. They go like, oh, we can just like make us friendly and them enemy, and we have one now.
Nomads can get an Ambot in that way.
Oh, they can?
Yes, because it does
that's
not
great.
say you cannot do that.
Now, they still have to...
You have to have the reputation for it.
Yeah, so you still have to have the reputation to be able to have an extra brute, and you still have to give your opponent a chance to take it back.
Right.
Because it's when you could normally sell it to the guilders.
Right, so it has to have a rescue mission and all that good stuff.
But if they're like, I'll hold off, you're like, oh, I have an automata now.
Now, the Ambot is in basically every single House of book as an option to everybody, except Nomads. He's still in that book, if I recall correctly.
Really?
I think so. The other guy who's in basically every single book, for 5 credits cheaper, so 210 credits, 180 if you're Goliath, is it's the Servitor Ogryn.
Yeah.
The Jotunn H-grade Servitor Ogryn, whatever. It's a Servitor Ogryn. It's a lobotomized Ogryn. It's really difficult not to talk about this guy in direct competition to the Ambot.
It is.
So he's got movement 5, weapon skill 4, so worse, ballistic skill 5, the same. Strength and toughness 5, still 3 wounds, 1 initiative better at 4,
Sure.
2 attacks. The same mental stats, gets 1 point of leadership in exchange for 1 point of willpower.
Not a huge deal.
The big problem with the Ogryn is that, first off, I mean, he's a little faster, and 5 is a lot better than 4.
We just said it. 5 is better than 4.
But the weapon he comes with is the Augmetic Fist, which is not fantabulous.
No.
Augmetic Fist does give you strength +1, which means you are doing strength 6, AP 1, 2 damage attacks. Now, strength 6 is an important breakpoint.
Yes.
Because you are now wounding people with 2 toughness on 2s. And knockback is fine.
And you're wounding other toughness 5, like other Ogryns or Automata, on 3s.
Yes, and you do have 2 of them.
Yeah.
So at base, he's a better. His strengths his hits hit harder than an Ambot.
Yes.
The problem is you've got weapon skill 4 instead of 3.
And it doesn't have a ranged weapon on it.
It doesn't. But that's,
I mean, having it is better than not having it. It's
Correct.
It is noticeably worse, but not in a huge way.
Now, servitors do get a lot of different weapon options. They actually get 4 different weapon options. You can replace one of your fists with an arc welder. You can replace one of your fists with a storm welder, which means you could have an arc welder and storm welder. You can replace one of your fists with a spudjacker, and you can also give him furnace plates. Oh, we forgot to mention the Ambot has light carapace, by the way.
Yes.
So 4-up save. Furnace plates are a 6-up save with a 5-up in the front arc.
Yes.
So a way worse save.
Real bad, and you have to still pay credits for it, otherwise he has no save.
Right. That's the problem. Is like Ambot just gets like.
So it's we didn't mention the cost. It's 15 credits to get the furnace plates.
Which you have to.
Yeah.
So functionally, he's really 10 more credits than an Ambot for a 5-up in the front save.
Yeah.
Compared to a 4-up natural save.
Yeah, that's really bad.
And slightly better melee weapons.
Yep.
So, but maybe his other weapons redeem him, right? Maybe his other weapons redeem him. So, for 70 credits, you can get an arc welder. Strength +2, which is no better than strength +1 on a 5-up guy, because strength 7 is not a breakpoint for anything except toughness 7 vehicles.
Right.
Or an Ambot with 2 toughness upgrades. I don't know.
I guess.
God help you. AP 3, damage 3, and blaze.
So that's all pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
Is it worth 70 credits?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think it's worth 70 credits. For 75 credits, you can get a storm welder, which you do not want. Okay, sorry. Storm welders are memetically bad.
It's their only ranged option.
Yeah, and it's 8/16.
+1 in short range.
So, hitting on a 4 instead of a 5. Strength 5, 0 AP, damage 1. Rapid fire 3, with reckless, and shock, and unstable. Reckless means you have to target everybody who is an optionable target.
Yeah.
That means everybody in front of you.
Yep.
Shock, which means you automatically wound on a 6 to hit, which, okay. Unstable, if you roll an ammo check on a 1, 2, or 3, go out of action. Your 3 wounds mean nothing in that case.
And that's after you spend 180 minimum plus 75.
Yeah. Storm welders are bad. Nobody takes storm welders.
No, storm welders are very bad.
Awful. It's a running gag how bad they are.
They might not be worth it if they didn't have unstable.
Rapid fire 3, strength 5, no AP is still pretty brutal.
For 75 credits though, only 16-inch range, that's still pretty bad.
If you're not hitting on 5s, that's not
That's
bad.
true.
Like, that's a lot of DACA.
That's a lot of DACA.
That's a lot of DACA. And I love anything rapid fire 3 is always really funny.
That's true. And just ask the dwarves.
Especially when it's a 3-up ammo check.
True. Yeah, only 3-up
So,
ammo check.
because usually things that have rapid fire 2 or 6 or whatever have a 6-up ammo check.
Yeah.
And running out is real bad.
3-up ammo check.
Yeah.
If you just ignore that unstable.
The unstable's the problem.
It is.
I think if it didn't have unstable, reckless is funny, so I'll give that a pass.
Yeah. Because you kind of have to target your own guys.
Yeah.
Granted, there's like a 45-degree line of sight,
Yeah,
so
just
you can fudge it.
Don't stand in front of me, and if you do, I
promise nothing.
I fail to see how this is my fault or my problem. Now, if you want to save credits, you can save 20 credits off of your normal cost of augmented fists by getting a spudjacker, which is basically instead of it's the same as your automatic fists, but it has no AP.
Yeah.
And only 1 damage.
It's a bonk weapon. It goes bonk.
For 20 credits less, if you're taking this guy, take the fists.
Yeah. I agree.
If you're taking this guy, take the fists.
I could see, because it says, let me see. May replace one of its fists with a spudjacker. So I could see replacing one with the spudjacker to upgrade the other one to make it cheaper.
Yeah, I could.
With the arc welder. No, obviously not with the storm welder.
Right, no, not with the storm welder. I guess I could.
Because then it would only cost 50.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, so he does 2 special rules. Number 1, he's slow-witted, which means he can't ever be part of a group activation.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, sometimes that's important.
Yeah.
And number 2, which is really nice, is that if you are ever, well, can be really nice, if you are ever giving aid to somebody in combat, remember normally if you have 2 people to their 1 people, you get a +1 to hit. This guy gives a +2 to hit to his friends.
Which is nice. Granted, they also had to survive melee with a brute.
Right, they had to survive melee with a brute, and also hope you don't have a Stormwalder.
Yeah.
Because then, remember that thing we talked about with don't be in front?
Now you're in front.
You're in the danger zone.
It should also be noted that he does come with Headbutt
Which is
as a skill.
better than it was when they wrote him.
Better than it used to be. Not great. Not good.
It's not Infiltrate.
It's not Infiltrate.
In short, if you have the credits for an Ogryn, you have the credits for an Ambot, and you should just get an Ambot.
Yep. If you already have an Ambot, just get a second Ambot.
Just get a second Ambot. If you already have 2 Ambots,
you should get the next one that we're
you
going to
won
talk
the
about.
campaign a long time ago. Stop steamrolling your friends. Yeah, the Ogryn could be a lot cheaper for what he is.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Well, I say that, but you can't just hand out Strength 5, Toughness 5, 3 wounds.
No.
You got to be careful with that.
But he's so bad.
He is.
The best part about him is he gives a bonus to your other guy if he's in melee.
I mean, the best part about him is a Strength 6, AP 1 damage 2 hit. Like, that hurts.
It does.
And with with Movement 5, he is the equal of movement of every single other ganger except for Escher and,
Yeah.
and some Judies.
True.
So he can get there reliably, unlike the Ambot.
Which is why the Ambot has Infiltrate and he doesn't.
And when he gets there, he will murder things.
Mm-hmm.
And Strength 5, Toughness 5, he's still weak to pinning, yes, but that's enough that he's not going to go down easy.
Yeah.
The armor save is the real letdown here.
Yeah, a 5-up at best.
The
real
fact
bad.
that he is functionally more expensive than an Ambot in exchange for 1 inch of movement
Yeah.
and worse armor save makes him, in my mind, worse.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is a shame, because he's kind of cool.
He is cool.
It also is one of the things where GW used to sell a box with 5 of these guys for the gang, and now you can only get them in pairs.
Yeah.
And it's more expensive. Let's go back to robots, although he probably would kill me for calling him that.
He would.
And go to the Iron Automata. So the Iron Automata is only available from the illegal section of the trading post.
Unlike all of these, you have to actually find one at the trading post.
Correct. He's 220 credits, so 5 credits more than an Ambot. And for that, you can only ever have 1. He's also illegal 14, by the way.
So hard to find at the best of times.
Right, and then when you do find him, you got to pay 220 credits for him. Movement 5, weapon skill and ballistic skill 4. Okay, so better weapons or better ballistic skill than the Ambot.
Yeah.
Strength and toughness 5, 3 wounds, 5 up initiative, 2 attacks. Really bad mental stats except for a 4 up cool stat.
Yeah.
Which is
somehow better than the other robot.
Yeah, and the other robot is just a bug brain in a robot body,
Yeah.
technically. Technically, the Ambot is not a robot. It is an Ambol, which is it's an Umber Hulk from D&D,
Yeah.
with its brain taken out and put in a robot in its attempt to make it
Grimdark?
Grimdark. Whereas the Iron Automata is a Man of Iron from the Age of Darkness. Here's the big thing. Part of its Man of Iron means it has a 3-up save.
Which is awesome.
And it comes with Nerves of Steel.
AKA, take a cool check whenever you would be pinned and instead you're not.
And you have a 4-up cool.
Yep.
And Fearsome, aka opponent has to make a willpower check to charge you. And it comes with an Assault Cannon and a Power Claw. So the Assault Cannon is not bad. It's Strength 6, AP 1, 1 damage.
Ooh, I did write that one down. Woo.
Oh, okay.
So the Assault Cannon is short range 12, long range 24, so regular. +1 at short range.
Okay.
So goes to a 3-up ballistic skill. Strength 5, AP -1, 1 damage, 6-up ammo. Rapid fire 2 scarce.
Yes.
So not your main reason to take him, in my opinion.
No, but that does hurt.
It does hurt. And it's rapid
and-
fire 2.
And a Power Claw.
And a Power Claw, which is his strength, so 5. AP 1, 2 damage. Noticing a pattern here, they all have that. But it has power and pulverize.
Remember, power means you cannot be parried by anything except a power weapon.
Yep.
If you roll a natural 6 to wound,
6 to hit.
6 to hit, they just don't get a save.
And +1 damage.
And
so
plus
it's
one
damage 3.
Yeah, so he hits like a truck. And remember, he has 4-up ballistic skill and 4-up weapon skill. So not as good weapon skill as the Ambot, but a better ballistic skill, and obviously far more range.
Yes. Being able to reach out 24 inches.
And Nerves of Steel.
Yeah, gets in there. Doesn't have infiltrate, but gets in there.
But he's got a 5-up movement.
Yeah.
Now, that all sounds absolutely fantabulous, so let's get to the downside. Is that he has a rule called Really Glitchy.
It's fine.
On every activation, not turn, activation, roll a d6. On a 2-up, you're fine. On a 1, he gets the Insanity condition. Which means that Assault Cannon / Power Claw is now going to be turned against maybe you?
Your leader?
Or maybe the enemy. Who knows? Whenever he gets taken out of action, you roll another d6 before you do anything else. On a 2-up, he's fine. On a 1, he just leaves.
He breaks down and he goes...
The flavor text says he leaves into the wastes, mumbling about overthrowing humanity.
That's the best part.
I believe they removed that flavor text from the newest book, but it was in the old trading post, and it was really good.
See, now I want this to happen, the guy to leave, and then my next gang to be he's the leader.
Oh, this guy's an outcast leader.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to remove that rule.
Yeah. on.
And my leader left. All right, game over.
Just make sure he doesn't go out of action. It's fine.
In addition, automated repairs is in the recovery phase. Before you recover, you roll a d6. On a 6, he just gets up. He just recovers.
Yeah.
He's fine. LOL. And in addition to that, he always rolls 2 injury dice, and you get to pick one when you make a recovery test.
So it's kind of like having...
True Grit, I believe.
Yeah, True Grit.
Or is it...
Well, half of True Grit.
Unstoppable. I can never remember those two. They always get
Yeah.
Anyway, so how do we rate this guy?
He's kind of all over the place. I like him.
Good stats.
Yes.
4s and 4s is not great, because the Power Fist, or the Power Claw doesn't have any plus to hit, does it?
Power Claw does not have a plus to hit.
And he's not dual wielding.
Nope.
Which means he only has 2 attacks or 3 on the charge.
Hitting on 4s is rough. The first thing I would do is give him +1, with his experience, give him +1 to hit.
And the rapid fire, the autocannon, strength 5, AP 1, 1 damage?
Yes.
So it's a heavy bolter, but with 1 damage.
Yeah.
That's, that can put down some pretty bad hurt.
Yeah.
Because rapid fire 2 is like a lot of bullets, potentially. 5-up ammo check and scarce is bad.
Yep.
But not the worst.
Sure.
You can get ammo jack to kind of...
You take a couple of shots out before...
Right,
before
you're probably going to get a couple out.
But with his 3-up save, Nerves of Steel, 5-inch movement, toughness 5, so...
3-up save, Nerves of Steel, and a 4-up cool check means you do not put this guy down.
No.
Like, he's going to keep walking towards you and not stop shooting.
You're going to send this guy to the left side of the field and the rest of your team to the right side of the field and pray.
And, yeah, that's the big thing is you don't want this guy near your team because a 1 out of 6 chance to go insane every activation is brutal.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, remember Insanity is really bad. We should do a whole episode on Insanity.
We should.
Insanity is one of the worst effects that you can get.
Yep.
Now, technically speaking, they do not make a mini for this guy. This is the first one we've talked about. He is a Man of Iron, so UR-025 from the Blackstone Fortress game is the only current Man of Iron miniature we have, and I think would work amazingly for this. You could also use a Castellan robot.
It's true.
Because they are modeled after the Men of Iron?
The ones that are in Votann are specifically not Men of Iron, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's debatable on if they're related. If the ancestor cores are related to the Men of Iron, that's not known.
Gotcha.
That's something they haven't quite... But they do also share design philosophy with them, so it's kind of implied they are.
Yeah.
It's not known. They're a little small. Then again, it doesn't say he has to be big, so you could have a little Votann Hearthkin guy just be like, hello! With an assault cannon's the hard part.
Yeah.
This guy is incredibly difficult to kill.
Yes. But sometimes you're not going to have to kill him. If he goes insane on turn 1, You just let him rampage.
Right, and then you just play the game of everybody leave that guy alone.
See, this is the kind of guy that I would take.
Oh yeah, no, this is I would take him over the Servitor Ogryn.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Just because he's more fun.
Yeah.
So right now our power ranking is Ambot, Automata, Servitor Ogryn.
Yeah. Which is saying something.
Well, is the Ambot better than this guy?
I think he is.
Yeah, it's more reliable.
It's more reliable. If it didn't have that really glitchy so we'll talk about in a future video a different model that's very similar that I think is better than the Ambot.
Which one's that?
The Chaos one. The Outlaw one.
Oh, right, yes.
I like that one better.
There's another brute that has what's called a similar vibe.
Yeah, similar vibe.
It's great. Oh, he's insane.
Oh, no.
All right, and now let's get into our last brute, who comes with brutes in one.
4, if you think about it.
Yeah, 4 brutes in one. This one's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's also the most recent because he was introduced in Book of the Outlands.
Yes, he was.
So we have the Outland Beastmaster for 100 credits. Asterisk.
Super cheap, kind of.
Asterisk. Because for 100 credits you get the Beastmaster, and then you pick one of his 3 pets to come with you, or multiples. This is the fun part. So the technical brute is the Beastmaster himself, who's 100 credits. 5-inch movement, 4-up weapons and ballistic, strength 3, toughness 3, 2 wounds.
Yeah.
So champion stats, 4-up initiative, only 1 attack, middling mental stats, so 7s across the board with a 6 cool and an 8 intelligence.
Yeah.
His weapons themselves are pretty bad. He's got a sawn-off shotgun and a shock stave and a mesh armor. When he's recruited, you choose a type of pet. And this is permanent, by the way, so you can't mix pets.
And you can't change it later.
And then later, you can purchase pets when he's recruited and after a battle.
Right.
You can either choose the Wasteland Giant Rat, the Millisar, which is a millipede dinosaur, or the Ripperjack,
which is a flying bug.
Which is a pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl, yeah.
Kind of. He also has a special rule. Normally in Necromunda, pets have to be within 3 inches of their owner. This guy gets to extend that leash out to 6.
Which is good because the Ripperjack's fast.
Yes.
And the Millisar can go through walls.
So this guy himself is nothing.
Yeah.
Like his stats are astoundingly mediocre. His guns suck.
His armor's only a 5-up.
And like his skill is meaningless.
He's not the important part.
No. What's important is which beast you bring with him. So, you got the rats, the Millisars, or the Ripperjacks. The rats are the cheapest. 30 credits. What does 30 credits get you?
A movement of 5, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 5, which doesn't matter.
The rats do not have guns.
Rats do not have guns, turns out.
Angry skaven noises.
Strength toughness 3, which actually surprises me. I thought they'd be 2.
Yeah.
1 wound, 3-up initiative, which is pretty good. 1 attack, 8-7, 8-7. So bad mental stats across the board. Its 1 weapon is Fangs, which is basically just no weapon.
Right. Yeah.
Strength, regular, AP nothing, 1 damage, no abilities.
So he does come with dodge.
Does come with dodge.
I mean, it's a skill that's the same as dodge, which means that when you get hit, you roll a dice on a 6. You just don't take the hit.
Yeah.
You do that before you get wounded too.
The nice thing is that each of these beasts will give its skill also to the Beastmaster.
And dodge is decent.
Dodge is decent.
It's not important though if the Beastmaster sucks and no one wants to shoot at him.
Right.
So
the actually cool part is when a rat is removed from your roster by dying, you get another one for free.
Right.
So there's a swarm of them.
You still have to purchase them the first time.
Yes, you have to buy them the first time.
But basically, you're going to buy 3 of these guys and just kind of like try and swarm your enemy.
Yeah.
And they also have expendable, which means if they die, they don't trigger.
Yeah. They're like most Jubes, where it's like
yeah, whatever. Yeah, we kind of expected that guy.
Yeah.
This is Swarm Tactics guy.
Yep.
I still don't rate it very highly. It's not useless.
No, it's not useless.
Because you can use them to tie up people. You can use them to be the better target for shots. You can use them to run objectives, I guess. He's the cheap option.
Yep. So for a total of 190 credits, you get 4 bodies, 3 of which are highly expendable.
Yeah. And not worse than an
board.
unarmed juvie.
No.
I
They just don't have a gun.
Weapon skill 4 even.
Yeah.
Better. Then you've got the Millisar, which they do have a model for. It is basically a giant millipede. Really creepy if you don't like bugs. He's 60 credits. Movement 6. Weapon skill 4. Ballistic skill doesn't matter. Strength and toughness 3, 2 wounds and 2 attacks instead of only 1, and then 8, 7, 7, 8. He comes with a Fanged Maw, which is notable in that it is a toxin weapon.
Yep.
No AP, but it's a toxin weapon. If you don't remember, toxin weapons, basically you have to roll equal to or higher than the toughness of your opponent. And if you do, they automatically take an injury dice, regardless of number of wounds.
Which is very funny, because there is not only not a strength, but also no damage written on this profile.
Right. Well, because they're...
Yeah, because they don't matter.
They
Neither of them
shouldn't
matter.
be. Yeah. He gets Infiltrate.
And he also gives Infiltrate to the Beastmaster, which makes sense, because one having it and the other one not doesn't make any sense.
And he also has Mesh Armor.
Yeah, unlike the rat who has no armor.
Yes. And a special rule called Burrowing, which means he can freely under impassable terrain.
So yeah, basically move through walls.
But his master can't.
Correct. Put the master on the side of the wall, and then he's got 6 inches to work through.
Right. But not in Zone Mortalis, because you always have 0 on walls in that.
Yes.
I don't rate that very highly. He's twice the cost of a rat, but I think twice as good.
Yeah, and I think just the fact of giving that whole group Infiltrate, I mean, it's expensive to get like multiple Millisor, but giving the whole group Infiltrate, he's kind of scary.
I'd rather have 1 Beastmaster and Millisor with Infiltrate than 1 Beastmaster and 2 rats without.
That's true.
Am I going to spring for 2 Millisors, 3 or 4?
And you can buy them later.
Yes, and they do not count against your brutes, because they're just pets for the guy. Probably not going to spring for more than 1, but Toxin threatens lots of things.
It does.
Because it does not ignore armor saves.
Correct.
So you still have to get through armor, but it ignores multi-wound.
It ignores having high amount of wounds. Which
it messes up the Ogryn.
That's true. Although you do need to roll a 5+.
Yes, that is the problem. Toxin really suffers against 5-up.
Yeah. High toughness.
High toughness, high armor. But it's very good at killing multi-wound, low toughness things. Mm-hmm. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
The Ripperjack. The Ripperjack is the last one for 70 credits. So 10 credits more than a Millisar. Mm-hmm. They do have it's actually a fairly recent model of Ripperjacks.
Yeah, just came out not too long ago.
Movement 7, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill. They gave this one 6, like it matters.
Yeah, the other one's got better ballistic skill, but none of them have guns.
Strength and toughness 3, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, 8, 7, 8, 8. He's got teeth, which are, like being armed, but with damage 2.
Yeah.
Concussion on a melee weapon. So for skills, the Ripperjack doesn't get one.
Yeah, but it has a bunch of other abilities.
He gives Catfall to the handler, which is bad.
Yeah.
It stops you from taking damage when you fall.
Sure, I guess if he's like trying to follow his flying friend around.
The main thing is that, which I guess he kind of has to, because his friend gets fly, but still can't be more than 6 inches away from his handler.
Whereas the Grapple Hawk has a 9-inch leash. This only has 6.
He's a solitary hunter, so he can't benefit from or grant assists to his shock-stave-wielding friend. But he does have enveloping attack, because Ripperjacks like wraparound things. Enemies engaged by this fighter get -2 to retreat initiative checks and -1 to their reaction attacks.
So being a predator that kind of jumps on a guy, and even if he doesn't kill it, which, I mean...
And he does have damage 2 and concussion on his attacks.
Yeah.
But only strength 3 and no armor piercing. So he's not really going to be killing most things by himself.
No.
But he doesn't grant assists.
No.
And the guy who's following him around just has a 4-up and a 1 attack and a shock stave.
And speed 5, trying to keep up with movement 7 with flying.
Right.
I think this is the worst one.
Yeah. I think the Millisor is the clear better choice.
The Millisor is the best one.
And the one that we will rank him up against.
Yes.
So with the Millisor, which is our favorite, although the others do have utility options. Even the Ripperjack does. -2 to retreat could seriously ruin some gangs' lives. And -1 to reaction attack is very frustrating.
Hello, Vansar. You need a 7 to leave my combat.
Then I can't leave.
Yeah, correct.
And Vansar, you could beat to death with a shock stick.
True. And strength 3.
Yeah. There you go. Bonk, bonk, bonk. I'm not even sure I like him more than the Ogryn.
Really? I do like him more than the Ogryn.
He's 160 credits. He is a lot cheaper.
He's a lot cheaper.
He feels the most different niche of all these guys.
Yeah, it's not just like, oh, I would rather have an Ambot than an Ogryn.
He's the brute who's not just a beat stick.
Yeah.
Because Ambot is a beat stick that can do a little shooting. Ogryn is a beat stick that can do some terrible shooting. And the Automata is a beat stick that can do some decent shooting.
Yeah.
but trades that for less decent melee and some incredible durability. This guy is pretty much a utility piece. The Milsaur is probably the most threatening of the beasts, but even then, with no AP, he's not going to scale well.
That's true.
My problem is that for 100 credits, his stats are bad.
Yeah, this is the wrong one.
His stats are bad.
His stats are bad.
His stats are bad for 100 credits. You're paying...
The best thing about him is he has 2 wounds.
Right. You're paying for bad champion stats. I mean...
And you're paying champion prices.
Right. Like, he's really expensive even compared to, like, an Outland or a Outcast champion.
Yeah.
Like, he gets the skill of his guy, and I guess you're paying for the fact that he comes with a sawn-off shotgun, which is one of the worst weapons of the game. And a shock stave is okay, but not great.
No. They're like 25 credits.
Yeah. I don't like him at all. I actually, like, I would see myself using the Jotunn over him. I know that's odd.
So I did take him in my Kodor gang because I'm, first of all...
Because more rats.
Because rat-themed. And second of all, because I wanted more bodies on the board. And he was a choice for 4 bodies. And he did fine. The rats occasionally kind of got in there and mucked some stuff up.
They got in the way.
If they didn't die to the reaction attacks, they gave a bonus to whatever came in next, which is nice.
And if they did die, it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. So, meh. You're right. He's very unique, very niche in what he does, and in that, you have to have a specific reason to take him.
Yes, and he is cheaper, but he is using one of your slots.
He's using one of the slots.
I think that's where it hurts for me.
That's true.
So my least favorite out of them.
That's right. I would put the Ogryn probably just a little bit below it personally.
It's a close race to the bottom there. Like,
Yeah,
neither of them are ones I want to. If I have 130 credits, I don't want to take a Beastmaster.
Yeah.
If I have 215 credits, I don't want to take an Ogryn.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to take either of these guys for their cost.
I would take the Milsaur. That sounds fun.
I would take it over the Ogryn probably.
Yeah.
But even then, I'd rather spend 160 credits on something else.
Yeah. If it makes you feel any better, the Milsaur has better armor than the Ogryn.
Hello, darkness, my Ogryn.
Oh my god. How did I know you were going to do that?
Because you know me.
I do.
So yeah, that's our rankings of just the basic, available to everybody brutes. We'll talk next time about the brutes available to the specific house gangs, and we'll kind of weight them against these guys.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there are brutes that only certain gangs can get, and you kind of have to compare them to these brutes.
Yeah.
And then after that, we also have some fun involving the brutes that are only available to people who are breaking the law.
And that's where summoning. First of all, some of the newest releases.
The newest brutes.
Yeah. And
some really funny stuff.
Real strong stuff.
But until that time, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.